back from our break. My name is Roy Lopez Jr., and we've got our special guest, Jesse Pangelinan, and of course our own producer, Richard Zee Rodriguez. Folks, we had such a good time. I had to break it down. Listen in. Speaking of working with some of these comics, who's probably, in your mind, who's like the most famous or the most, what comic stands out more than any others who have made it?
In terms of like comedy, thinking as a comedian who's made it, I would put George Lopez and Louis C.K. at the top.
I love Louis C.K., man. He's something else.
But I mean, I worked with the likes of, I did a show one time with Brian Regan and Maria Bamford.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was the opening act, Maria was the feature act, and the headliner was Brian Regan. And they're on TV a lot right now.
Yeah.
I did a show where Ralphie May was the feature act.
Oh, did you hear about his last concert in Denver? That didn't go too well for him.
No. I've worked with the likes of, Larry the Cable Guy, Ron White.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So you've got quite a resume, man.
Tell me a little bit when did you feel that you were actually a comedian? So you went up to this open mic, you got up there, or was it an open mic the first time that you started?
I tell you, when I see, it's funny, I get on Facebook and I see all these people talking about, I'm a comedian. They'll have their name listed as, that's their occupation.
Yeah.
But they also work at wherever,
Walmart.
Work at Walmart, yeah, sure. Or, work in some law firm or whatever. I didn't actually put comedian in my working title on MySpace. That's how old I am. Until that's all I did.
Yeah.
And I had a great job. I used to work for the IRS.
Oh.
Yeah. I worked for the IRS for 12
It's kind of like the CIA, though, but right? Like once you're in, you're in. It's like you're still
Nah,
part of
they let me walk away. It was great.
I'm leaving. Okay.
Bye.
See you.
You'll be back.
And
Never.
tell us what IRS stands for, just for our listening crowd.
Yeah.
Those are three initials.
Internal Revenue Service.
Why you gotta talk like Juan? That's amazing.
I just want my Latino friends to understand what I'm saying.
How long did it take you before you put that title on yourself as comedian?
It was 2000. I was very fortunate. I hooked up with a comedian who was getting really, really popular at the time, Carlos Mencia. And
what year was this?
This was in 1998 that I hooked up with Carlos, and I did some opening shows for him. And he was going to go on this really big tour where he'd made the transition from comedy clubs to theaters and small stadiums and stuff like that. And he needed an opening act. And that's one thing that I've always been strong at, is opening a show. I can get an audience going within 10 minutes.
Actually, sooner than that. I mean, as soon as you get on stage, I mean, I've seen your performances, and I've been in the comedy field for about 15 years myself, booking shows. Yeah. So obviously, I've seen an array of comics, but not on the level that you have.
Thanks.
That's amazing.
So 98, how many years did it take then to get to 98 when you first started?
I was only 3 or 4 years in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 4 years of average for somebody.
Mencia wanted me to be his opening act on these tours, and the pay was really going to be really good. Oh. And
I was really good anyway, just $10 an hour.
Yeah, even for back then, I mean, for doing one show, it was $300.
Oh,
which as an opener?
Doing
that's
10
amazing.
minutes.
Well, yeah, but you got bigger audiences.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And he would fly me, because this was literally all over the country. So he would fly me out of Austin to wherever I needed to go, and he would fly me back.
Wow!
Oh, that's amazing. So, and plus your whatever he was going to pay you, right?
And he'd feed you too, right?
Feed me and
he probably lost out on that part. Wow, that's amazing. And I think it's funny because you brought up your 7 levels of comedy. A lot of these comedians that put comedian behind their name on Facebook or whatever, I've had a issue with them. And the best way I can explain it is, when you get to high school, you're not automatically a senior your first year. Right. You're a freshman, then a sophomore, then a junior, then a senior.
Unless you're really, really smart.
Well, yeah, a 14-year-old prodigy maybe, But my point is that a lot of these guys come out and they do an open mic somewhere and they make 3 or 4 people laugh. And next thing you know, they're comedians.
Yeah.
And I could name a few people, but I'm not going to, George. But it's okay. You said you could edit. But you don't know. But seriously though, these people come out and all of a sudden they're comedians. And there's got to be a different. There's got to be 7 levels of that too. It's like first you're just funny guy,
Sure.
and then humorous, and then mostly funny, or I don't know. We, somehow we need to establish that criteria so that people don't just come out and, oh yeah, I'm a comedian, because they're able to make their family laugh. Right. And quite frankly, your family, it sounds like the same thing that happened to you happened to me. Mike Robles, I give Mike Robles the credit for bringing me into the comedy field, because we were performing at Socorro's, and you may have even been there that night. I think it was Cleto Rodriguez, Speedy Rodriguez, Fred Hernandez, and I don't recall if you were there or not, but Mike Robles opened up the show and said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat for you. He doesn't even know it. Our first comedian is Roy Lopez Jr., and he just threw me up to the dogs, man. And I get up there, like hi everybody, how you doing?
Let me ask you a question. So, were you intending to be a comedian yourself, other than a promoter?
I'll be very honest with you. Cleto and Speedy and Fred were like 3 of my. I would go to the shows to see them, and then we became friends. And they inspired me, but not so much. I don't think I really wanted to be a comedian as much as I wanted to get involved in trying to get these guys, more and more
part of the community.
Yeah, to be part of the community, and because the funny part wasn't just the show.
Yeah,
it was standing outside in the parking lot, listening to these guys banter before the shows, and I've seen shows that have done that, Jesse, where they have a camera like in the pre-show, and that's where all the funny stuff comes out, because they bounce stuff off of each other, and then somebody will say a line, and then somebody else will make it funnier, and I'm in there right in the middle, and hey, I know these guys, and oh yeah, that's my buddy, and then when I think about it real quick, I've probably done 100 shows with each of them, including yourself.
Yeah,
over the years, in the last 20 years.
I would say I've done at least that many shows with you.
That's why I think you like being the host, because you're always there, no matter who's there.
That, and I don't have to pay to get in. So.
Hey, you made me pay to get in. Which is stupid.
Hey, somebody's got to pay the comics.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of like that part. It was funny because I've had some health issues, and before I had those health issues, and you can ask Cleto this, I was one of the meanest comics. I mean, I was mean.
Mean to the crowd,
to the other comics.
Oh,
I was brutal. I would talk about their acts. I would talk about how much they suck. If they ate it in front of an audience, I would remind them of that. And
that's funny,
dude.
You're vicious.
I was vicious.
You were the vicious comedian.
Yeah.
So you're the reason they call it a dog-eat-dog world.
You're the dog.
I'm the dog. I'm the eat. I don't know.
You're the pit bull of the comedy, man.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that's probably not contributive to the?
It wasn't even that. It was just after I left the 3rd or 4th time. I really did retire.
Yeah, going back to the.
Yeah, I really did retire. I just thought I just needed to get away from it. My mistake was that I chose to make a big deal about it. You know what I mean? It's like, because I was thinking I'm gonna walk away, but I'm gonna make a big deal about it so that I don't have the balls to come back. But
so you wouldn't you were doing the opposite of Mark Rojas. That's what you were trying to do, right?
What was
not retire, go on to say bye to your friends here, go to LA, and then come back a week later.
No.
Make it.
My whole thing was I decided I just wanted to stop doing comedy or whatever, and I didn't want to come back. So I told everybody, I made a big deal about it. This is it, you guys. This is my last show. Come check me out. I'm gone. I'm gonna do this. The problem is, when I was out on the road, I got a really decent reputation with a lot of the bookers. So I didn't tell a lot of those bookers that I had quit. So I would get calls. I would get calls from guys that are still booking rooms, and they would say, hey.
And that kind of pulled you back in.
And yeah, exactly.
Well, I never stopped calling. I never stopped calling. I would have shows.
Some people believed you, and a lot of people didn't believe you.
Well, some people didn't know. That was it. And then...
Oh, I knew. But you know what? I've got 5 comedians out of retirement. I've got Fred Hernandez when he decided. I brought him back. Gloria's another one. Gloria oh my God,
Sanchez?
Gloria Sanchez.
Yeah.
Gloria Sanchez. I think the comedy world is missing her because she is one of the funniest women I have ever heard. And I recently, a friend of mine talked to her and said, "Would you come back?" She goes, "I'll do it for Roy." So I got a little ace in my hole right now. But
Excuse me? Yeah, what in your hole?
an ace. We're going to play cards tonight.
Okay.
Anyway, but but I've always
It's a
admired.
teen comedy show. Right?
I was going to say.
I've always admired Jesse. Not once has he ever said, and when you're promoting.
Yeah.
Especially like, for instance, a couple of years ago we did a show on September the 16th, and I thought it'd be cool. His name was Jesse. We were going to have the Jesse Says celebration.
Jesse Says.
So I did the Jesse Says, and I showed it to him. I was all excited. I go, "Look at this, man! This is fantastic. This is awesome. Check it out." He's like, "I don't like it." And I was like, "Jesse, it's awesome."
Okay, we heard your version. Let's hear Jesse. What happened, Jesse? What's the
Well,
truth?
he brought me this thing and he called it, "Hey, this is awesome." And I go, "It's Jesse Says," and I looked at it and I go, "I don't like it."
That's exactly how it went down.
I was like, "What is this? This is the dumbest thing I've..."
What I did was, what I think he didn't like is that I superimposed his face on the body of Emiliano Zapata.
Okay.
And and Jesse's face was a lot larger, so it covered more room. It kind of looked funky wearing that
Sombrero.
the sombrero with the bullets and everything, and
Cross
his
the sash,
little face. "Hello, it's me, Jesse P."
Oh, you're trying to stereotype him. That's why he
No.
I tell you what, though, I showed it to a couple of friends,
Yeah.
and they thought it was hilarious, and I was like, okay.
To this day, when I talk to people about having you on my show, I show them that flyer, and the first thing that comes out, Jesse Says, that's cool. So I know I had a gem when I came up with that, man. Moving right along, earlier you said you were having health issues. Obviously, our radio.
Do people know we're in here?
No. We kind of snuck into Jesse's room, 2611 at Krista Santa Rosa, and we're
I don't know which one.
actually here with Jesse. He's in his hospital bed, and man. But he's looking good, folks. You know what? You really look like you're ready to go home.
You kind of remind me of a silk pupa moth. How they're all wrapped up in white.
Whoa, that's terrible.
Yeah, but when he comes out, he's a beautiful
A butterfly.
That's it.
Oh,
That's sweet.
God.
Because you could have said I reminded you of Jesus in his shroud.
Oh.
I'm in the room, bro. So I'll go with the first one.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
Fat Jesus. Fat Jesus.
Well, Jesse and Jesus.
Well, and
I
two
see
shrouds.
that
This is
analogy.
more like 2 shrouds right here. Oh, look, he's even got the bloodstains.
Oh my
Nice.
God! I don't
man.
want to see that. That's
Nice.
disgusting.
Oh, you know what? They flipped it out.
I think that was from the previous owner. I mean, the previous.
Okay. So anyway, we came by to visit with Jesse, and your spirits are high as usual. That's one thing about you. You always have such a positive outlook. Even when things look glim, like the shows you get there, and how many people are there, and 8, 9, 10 people. But you know what? One thing I admire you. One of the reasons I admire you the most is because no matter what, whether it's 5 people or 500 people, you always give it 100%.
Absolutely.
And I know that I can expect that from you. There are a lot of comics out there who look out and they become, I'm going to go out there.
Disillusioned.
Yeah, they don't want to give it their all. And I keep saying, you know what, there might only be one person there, but that one person might be the person that will, the TV producer. He might be there to check you out on the word of like a referral, and producing a TV show, but because you didn't give it your all, hey, never mind, we'll go to the next guy.
I want to hear the story because you've actually turned your situation into an inspiration for your own comedy. Because I've heard your set, and you go on the stage and you talk about your foot condition and what happened to all the people that kind of supported you back then. Can you share that story with us about your bit that you have on stage and you talk about your foot?
Well, what it is, for those of you who don't know, I'm diabetic, and I had some issues with my feet, and one of my toes had to be amputated. And it's funny because Roy takes credit for this one, and I don't. I do.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That was me. Okay, that was me. I don't know why you know. Whenever you tell the story, you always say somebody, but it was really me. I swear to God.
It's funny. A lot of people blame Roy that I talked to.
No. My wife was with me. She was totally against it. I go, hey, he's a comedian. He'll understand. Now tell him.
You're listening to a special edition of Southtown Comedy Radio Show with Roy Lopez Jr. Stay tuned for part 3 and hear more of the conversation with world-touring comedian Jesse Pangelinan.